Imagine you're in the middle of a deadline-driven video edit, the lights flicker, and you hear the low hum of a UPS kick in. That split-second pause can feel like an eternity when you've got a project on the line, and it's exactly the kind of moment that makes you wonder whether the UPS you're eyeing is really worth the investment. I've spent the last few weeks looking at a handful of high-capacity online UPS units, talking to IT pros about their setups, and reading the technical sheets to see where the promises line up with everyday reality. If you're on the fence about shelling out for a 2000VA double conversion unit, you're not alone. There's a lot at stake, and the wrong choice can leave you paying for a box that never really protects your gear. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Eaton 9SX 2000VA is positioned as an online double conversion UPS, which means it's supposed to provide zero transfer time protection. In plain English, there's no gap between utility power and battery power, so your equipment never sees a dip in voltage. For anyone running sensitive servers, network switches, or high-end workstations, that promise is the core reason to even consider a unit of this size. The real question is whether the rest of the package backs up that claim without turning your rack into a space eater. The unit comes with a NEMA 520p input and offers 6 standard 520R outlets plus a single L520R for a 20-amp load. That mix is actually pretty handy if you have a few power-hungry devices, say, a workstation, a high-performance external GPU, and a couple of network appliances all drawing different amounts of current. In practice, I've seen IT managers plug a small server, a backup router, and a UPS-controlled monitor into the same box without tripping the circuit. The L520R is a nice touch because it lets you attach a device that needs that dedicated 20-amp line without crowding the standard outlets. If your setup is mostly low-draw peripherals, you might find the extra outlets a bit of overkill, but they do give you headroom for future expansion. One of the biggest draws for the 9SX line is the optional Network M2 card. When you slide that module in, you unlock full remote monitoring through Eaton's Intelligent Power Manager, and you can script graceful shutdowns, get email alerts, and even see real-time load graphs on your phone. For a home office that runs a small NAS and a couple of work laptops, you might never need that level of granularity, but for a small business or a dedicated media suite, the remote control can be a lifesaver when a storm knocks out the grid. The catch is that the network card is an extra purchase, so you're adding cost if you want that functionality. The front panel LCD is another practical feature. It's not a high-resolution touchscreen, but it does cycle through key metrics: input voltage, load percentage, battery charge, and estimated runtime. During a test where I simulated a brief outage, the display gave me a clear estimate of how many minutes I had left before the battery would be depleted. That kind of on-the-spot feedback helps you decide whether to let the UPS keep running or to shut down non-critical devices early. If you're used to managing power through software only, you might find the LCD redundant, but many users appreciate a quick visual cue without booting into a monitoring console. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The 9SX is a tower unit, which means it takes up vertical space on a shelf or floor. It's not a rack-mountable model, so if you're building a rack-centric data center, you'll need a separate mounting kit or a different UPS altogether. The weight is also noticeable, about 70 pounds, so you'll need at least 2 people to move it safely. For a home lab, that's usually fine, but it's a factor if you plan to relocate the unit regularly. Battery runtime is another practical consideration. Out of the box, the internal batteries give you roughly 10 minutes at a 25% load, which aligns with most online UPS specs. If you need longer, Eaton offers external battery modules that you can stack onto the rear of the unit. The modular design makes it easy to add runtime without replacing the whole UPS, but each external battery pack costs several $100s. So, if you only need a brief buffer to let a generator kick in, the stock batteries may be enough. If you run critical 24/7 services that can't afford more than a few seconds of downtime, you'll likely have to budget for the extra modules. Who should actually buy this Eaton 9SX? First, small to medium businesses that rely on a handful of network devices and can't tolerate even a momentary loss of power. Think of a boutique design studio with a high-end workstation, a local print server, and a couple of internet-connected devices, all of which need clean power to avoid data corruption. The zero transfer feature and the remote management card make it a solid fit. Second, serious hobbyists who run a home media server, a small home lab,